What's going on, guys? We got ourselves some major breaking news here. Something has just happened that I never thought I would ever see in my life. The president of another country is suing a extremely popular influencer in the United States. French president, the president of France, Emmanuel Macron, and his wife are both suing Candace Owens because she basically said that his wife is a man and she groomed him and all this other stuff. And, you know, they're not really playing around. For those who don't remember, if you go back, this entire situation took place over like several years. Like Candace Owens started making these claims about them years ago. They never really responded or said anything. Then as Candace Owens continued to get bigger and more popular, what you saw was, I believe, starting in 2024, they started to send her like letters of retraction, like basically these threatening legal letters from their lawyers saying, hey, you better retract those statements that we feel are defamation and that we feel are lies. Otherwise, there will be consequences. What those consequences will be, we didn't exactly know at the time, but now we do. They are now suing her. There's a press release right here, but we're not going to read the press release immediately. First, let's go ahead and read this article from Politico because this article is actually very interesting. So it says right here, Macrons sue Candace Owens for defamation. The French president and his wife allege that Owens has spread false transphobic rumors about the French first lady to boost her own business. And then if we just go ahead and read the article here, French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife, Brigitte Macron, have sued American hard right podcaster Candace Owens for defamation, alleging that the influencer profited off of spreading a false rumor that the French First Lady was born a biological male in their suit filed in the Delaware State Court. For those who don't know why they're filing the suit in Delaware State Court, it's because that's where Candace Owens' business are. I'm sure most of you guys know. If you want to start a business or start an LLC or whatever, you're better off doing it in Delaware because their laws are a lot more, their laws are a lot better for businesses than other states. So that's why they filed the suit against Candace Owens in the state of Delaware. The Macrons allege that Owens has used this false statement to promote her independent platform, gain notoriety, and make money, blah, 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 blah. Let me scroll all the way to the bottom because there's something very interesting in this article, guys. Candace Owens is not the first person that the Macrons have sued. They actually, it says right here, the suit comes as the Macrons pursue a separate legal battle back home against two women for pushing the same transphobic theory about the president's wife. So here's what happened with that. There were two women who they had YouTube channels as well. They basically said the same thing about Emmanuel Macron's wife. And what happened was they went after them and sued them for libel. A French court initially found the two women guilty of libel in 2024 and ordered them to pay 8,000 euros to the first lady and 5,000 euros to her brother, who was also a party in the trial. However, the women were acquitted by the Paris Court of Appeal earlier this month. The French First Lady filed an appeal in that case July 14th. So she and her husband already went after somebody in their own country and lost. So could that happen in the United States? It's very, very possible that Candace Owens could win this case. And it is unlikely that they will win their case against her. I'll explain to you guys why. Number one, you live in a completely different country. You live in France. You are the president and first lady of France. You are literally running a whole other country and you're suing somebody in a different country. But besides that, suing for defamation and slander and all that is extremely hard to prove when you are dealing with public figures. It is much easier to win those cases if Billy Johnson sues Joel Smith, the plumber, for whatever. Those cases are easier to win than when you're dealing with a public person, like a very famous or well-known person, because when you sue somebody like that, there's so much more that you have to prove. And then the other thing when it comes to filing a lawsuit is you have to prove something called damages. Where were the damages? How did what Candace Owens said about you two damage you? How did it damage you? Did it damage your reputation, which because of that damage of your reputation, it caused you to lose out on certain financial opportunities or something like that. That can get very, very interesting. By the way, the Macrons hired a very interesting lawyer. The lawyer that they hired was the same lawyer that won that case against Fox News on behalf of the Million, if you guys remember that from years back. So you have that going on. Here's the actual press release here. French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife filed 22-count defamation lawsuit against Candace Owens. And then it says here, Tom Clare of Clare Locke LLP, lead counsel for French President Emmanuel Macron, today announced the filing of blah, 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 blah. So then I'm just going to get into kind of what they said. They said, Miss Owens has promoted a preposterous narrative about the Macrons, including incendiary and verifiably false accusations of identity theft, incest, violent crimes, and mind control, and reckless disregard for facts and evidence in her possession. Miss Owens is at the epicenter of an online crusade predicated on her assertion that she would stake her entire professional reputation on the fact that Bridget, I don't know how to say her name. I'm just going to say Bridget, but I heard somebody say it online, but I forgot how to say it. It's like Brigitte or something, but whatever. Miss Macron, the First Lady of France, is in fact the man, as detailed in the complaint. The filing of this lawsuit follows 3 separate retractions the man sent to Miss Owens in the last year containing, so blah, 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 blah. Because Miss Owens systematically reaffirmed these falsehoods in response to each of our attorneys' repeated requests for a retraction, we ultimately concluded that referring the matter to a court of law was the only remaining avenue for remedy, stated President Macron. If there was ever a clear-cut case of defamation, this is it, stated the attorney for the Macrons, Tom Clare, relying on discredited falsehoods originally presented by a self-proclaimed spiritual medium and so-called investigative journalist. Miss Owens both promoted and expanded on these falsehoods and invented new ones, all designed to cause maximum harm to the Macrons. Okay, so they're suing Candace Owens. Very, very interesting stuff. I have no idea how that case is going to go. Candace Owens did respond, actually. I forgot to pull that up. Give me like 2 seconds. I need to go to Candace Owens' Instagram because she did respond. Obviously, she's going to give her full response when she goes live today. She's going to do a show today where obviously she'll respond, and we'll see how that goes. Here's what she said on her Instagram, though. So she said here, she said a day in the life. And then after that, basically she posted the fact that she's getting sued. She's like, oh, wow, that's crazy. And then she said, it's the way that I keep learning about my life through the press. Then she said, I will be coming for this wig today. Stay tuned. And then she's got a picture of Emmanuel Macron and his wife. So you got that going on. And then I want to show you guys something else that I found interesting. There's an interview that took place between Tucker Carlson and Clayton Morris, who I actually do like Clayton Morris. He's on YouTube as well, and I do like his channel. But they had some interesting things to say about Candace Owens and Emmanuel Macron's wife. Let's go ahead and take a listen to that.
The one story that I have seen in the past few years that I was just like, I can't go there. That's just flat earth stuff, is the Brigitte Macron, Emmanuel Macron, President of France's wife, was accused first by French journalists and then by my friend Candace Owens, who's one of the nicest people I've ever met, actually.
Yeah, she's
very
incredible.
smart.
She's incredible.
She and everyone's always, Candace Owens a hater. Candace Owens is the opposite of a hater, but she's a very kind person. But anyway, but she comes out and she's like, I will wager my professional credibility on the claim that Macron's wife is actually a man. And I was like, oh, Candace Owens, I love you, but I think this is too crazy.
Yeah.
And then it turns out she's right.
Yeah.
What is so? Can you just explain? My mind is blown.
Well, my wife has been by the way, the Candace Owens pieces on this are phenomenal. And so I'll be sitting there, my wife, I'm like, what are you watching? She's like, I'm watching Candace Owens' whole deep dive on this. So let's give credit, I'm giving full credit to Candace Owens on this for really opening this story up from the French journalists who first broke it and then were, I think, like ostracized or basically told not to report it. So that, yeah, I mean, he's a groomer. So, the fact that Emmanuel Macron was a child and this man takes him under his wing and is a groomer, uses the identity of another human being. I mean, I'm definitely shortening the story in all of these ways, but I don't know the full details the way that Candace does for sure. But Brigitte Macron is a man who groomed Emmanuel Macron, and in their, I mean, the amazing thing to me is the French portrait that they have, you know, the presidential portrait or whatever. In the background, you can see like a pedophile book that's painted in on purpose. Like you can't make this stuff up.
What?
The official like French portrait painting, there's in the background of it, you can see like basically a pedophile book that's been painted in on purpose. And other paintings that Brigitte Macron was famous for having around in the palace. All these really awful looking things that, you know, you've got pictures of a barn here. Like the stuff that Brigitte likes to hang around is like pedophilia stuff on the walls. So it's incredibly crazy.
What is it with pedophilia? I mean, pedophilia is one of the...
Okay, so yeah, that's crazy stuff we got going on here. Just want to play that for you guys. I figured you'd be interested in that. And yeah, that's today's video. Crazy stuff. We'll see what Candace Owens has to say, and depending on what she says, I'll do a follow-up going over what she said. But as always, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks so much for watching today's video. See you guys in the next one.